Glycosuria and ketonuria are the indication of diabetes mellitus. Imagine how each and every organ in our body is so very important for the normal functioning of the body. From the urinary bladder, when it is full, it is called micturition. So either artificially it has to be eliminated. As we all know, if urea is not eliminated out of the body, renal calculi, it is otherwise commonly called as kidney stones. Hello everyone, welcome back to session 7 of this chapter 19 of your syllabus called Excretory Products and Their Elimination. Myself, B. Shobarani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. Hope you remember in my last session we learned about the regulation of kidney functions and regulation by JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus, regulation by ADH, regulation by ANF. We are moving on to the last concepts of this particular chapter called excretory products and their elimination. Moving on to the next concept, that is called micturition. So once the urine is formed, it has to be eliminated out of the body. So the process of elimination of urine from the body is called micturition, or it can also be called as what? It can be called as the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder. I think all of us know when the bladder is full, then immediately we feel like eliminating it, right? So that process of expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder when it is full, it is called micturition. And it is a reflex process, but can be controlled voluntarily to some extent in grown-up children and adults. I think all of us know, particularly during traveling, we try to avoid micturition. So in that cases, so you cannot control all the time. When your bladder is completely full, then it may not be possible to control. But at some cases, voluntarily also it can be controlled. So the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder, the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder is called micturition. So it is a reflex process, but can be controlled voluntarily to some extent in grown-up children and adults. So very, very important process we can say, because as we know that the urea, which is in the form of urine, cannot be retained in the body for a longer time. It has to be eliminated at times when needed. If not, it may lead to some other problems, like you might have come across a very common disorder called kidney stones. So when the urine is retained for a longer time in the body, it may also lead to aggregation of the salts that is found in the urine to what we call it as kidney stones. It is not called stones, but it is the aggregation of the salts. So it has to be eliminated. The CNS, that is the central nervous system, sends the signal. So once the bladder is full, the signal is sent through the central nervous system, which causes the stretching of the urinary bladder. So once the bladder is full, so it's an indication that this very important, it has to be expelled out from the urinary bladder. So that signal is sent to the CNS, which causes the stretching of the urinary bladder when it gets filled with urine, and thereby you feel like eliminating it. So that whole process or mechanism of elimination of the urine from the urinary bladder is called micturition. A very, very important process we can say. So all this time we have studied about the process of formation of urine. So once the urine is formed, it has to be eliminated out from the body, from the urinary bladder. So the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder is called micturition, and it is a reflex process but can be controlled voluntarily to some extent in grown-up children and adults. So the CNS, that is the central nervous system, sends the signal which causes the stretching of the urinary bladder when it gets filled with urine. In response, the stretch receptors on the walls of the bladder send signal to the CNS. Say CNS, the signals, once the urinary bladder is full, the signal is sent from the CNS, whereby there is a stretching of the urinary bladder. And in response, the stretch receptors that are found on the walls of the urinary bladder send signal to the CNS back. So the CNS passes on motor message to initiate the contraction of smooth muscles of the bladder and simultaneous relaxation of the urethral sphincter, causing the release of urine. See the mechanism. So unknowingly we eliminate the urine, but see the mechanism that is involved in the process of micturition. So in response, the stretch receptors on the walls of the bladder send signals to the CNS. The CNS passes on motor message to initiate the contraction of smooth muscles of the bladder and simultaneous relaxation of the urethral sphincter, causing the release of urine. So an adult human excretes how much? An average of 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. And this also varies. Like for example, if you drink more water, then more urination will take place. So it depends upon the amount of water it also depends upon the amount of water that is taken in. But usually an adult human excretes an average of 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. Presence of glucose is called what? Glycosuria. So I think sometimes you might have come across the urine will have more of sugar content or glucose. So that is called as what? Glycosuria. Presence of ketone bodies in urine is called ketone. All these are, you can call it them as the abnormalities we can say. Glycosuria and ketonuria are the indication of diabetes mellitus. So I think all of us know that diabetic patients or diabetic people will go for frequent urination and that is an indication that they are having diabetes mellitus or they are suffering from a disorder called diabetes mellitus. So in response, the stretch receptors on the walls of the bladder send signals to the central nervous system. So the central nervous system sends signals sends signals, thereby stretching the urinary bladder. So in response, the stretch receptors on the walls of the bladder send signals to the CNS. So the CNS passes on motor message to initiate. Motor means it will send instructions to the smooth muscles of the urinary bladder and simultaneous contraction and relaxation. Urethral sphincter, causing the release of urine. So an adult human excretes an average of 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. So presence of glucose is called what? Glycosuria. Then presence of ketone bodies in urine is called ketonuria. Then glycosuria and ketonuria are the indication of what? Diabetes mellitus, a disorder called diabetes mellitus. Now, role of other organs in excretion. So all this time we were talking about the role of kidney in the process of elimination of the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea. So what is the role of other organs in excretion? For example, like we know the sweat, that is sweat glands also help in the process of regulation. So the organs other than the kidneys like lungs, liver and skin also help in the elimination of excretory waste. So other than the kidneys, there are other organs also which are involved in the process of excretion. May it be like the lungs, liver and skin also help in the elimination of excretory waste. All of us know lungs are the very important respiratory organs which are not only involved in intake of oxygen, but it is also involved in the expulsion of the gaseous waste, that is carbon dioxide, from the lungs to the environment. So lungs eliminate large amount of carbon dioxide, that is 1 liter per day we can say, and minute quantities of water every day. So lungs eliminate large amount of carbon dioxide. As we all know that carbon dioxide is a gaseous waste that is produced inside the body, and it has to be eliminated out from the body. So as we know, either it is eliminated in the form of bicarbonates or it is eliminated in the form of carbon dioxide, gaseous waste. So lungs eliminate large amount of carbon dioxide and minute quantities of water every day. Liver secretes bile containing substances like bilirubin, biliverdin. These are called as what? Bile pigments, cholesterol, degraded steroid hormones, vitamins, and drugs through digestive waste. See, through digestive waste also, some of the wastes are thrown out of the body. I think all of us know jaundice. If the bile pigments are not metabolized, they will remain in the blood for a longer time, and that will cause what? Jaundice, yellowing of the body. So what is the role of other organs in excretion other than kidney? The organs other than the kidneys, like which are the organs which will also help in the process of excretion, like it may be the lungs, liver, and skin. Skin through sweating. So sweat is also one form of putting out the waste from the body. Lungs eliminate how much? Large amount of carbon dioxide in the form of gaseous waste and minute quantities of water per day. Then liver secretes bile containing substances like what? Bilirubin, biliverdin, that is the bile pigments, cholesterol, degraded steroid hormones, vitamins, and drugs through digestive waste. Now, sweat glands, as I said, say like for example, when it is summer, we drink more water, so we feel more thirsty. So the more the thirsty, and particularly the temperature, and if the temperature is very high, and obviously we start sweating, right? So in that case, so some of the waste that are found inside the body is also thrown out in the form of sweat. So sweat glands secretes watery fluid containing sodium chloride, minute quantity of urea, lactic acid, etc. See how they are also involved in the process of elimination of certain waste, just like kidney is involved in the process of elimination of urea. Then sebaceous glands, like what we call it as the oil glands, eliminate certain substances like sterols, hydrocarbons, and waxes through sebum, right? Next, sebum secretion provides a protective oily covering for the skin. So this is like, it is also like a waxy coating for our skin, oily coating for our skin, which will also act as a lubricating agent, keeping the skin surface moist. So sweat gland secretes watery fluid containing sodium chloride, minute quantity of urea, lactic acid, etc. Sebaceous glands eliminate certain substances like sterols, hydrocarbons, and waxes through sebum. Sebum secretion provides a protective oily covering for the skin. So we have come across, other than kidney, how the lungs, the liver, and the skin are also involved in the process of elimination of certain waste, just like kidney does the process of eliminating the nitrogenous waste, that is urea. Now, disorders of the excretory system. So now let us understand what are the disorders of, like already like uremia. The very word itself will tell you, more accumulation of urea in the blood due to malfunctioning of kidney. As we all know that how important kidney is for the process of elimination of urea. So kidney is such a very important organ in the human body. So there are many disorders caused due to the malfunctioning of the kidney. So one such disorder is uremia. That is the accumulation of, so when the kidney fails to function properly and fails to eliminate urea in the form of urine, then it will lead to a disorder called uremia. That is the accumulation of urea in blood due to malfunctioning of kidney. But I think all of us know now science and technology has improved to such an extent that it has come to the rescue of many people who are suffering from disorders like disorders of the kidney. So one such very important method to help the people whose kidney is not functioning is called hemodialysis. So I think you might have come across many people undergoing dialysis, but dialysis is of two types. It is called dialysis. So when the kidney is not functioning, so malfunctioning of kidney. malfunctioning of kidney has to be rectified. So it is rectified through a process called dialysis. Here you can see in the picture also. This is one process of dialysis. So dialysis is of two types. One is called hemodialysis. The other one is called peritoneal dialysis. So in case of hemodialysis, the very word itself will tell you. Hem means what? Blood. Here, blood transfusion has to take place before this hemodialysis is done, and hospitalization is very important for hemodialysis. So the person who has to undergo dialysis, hemodialysis, has to get admitted to the hospital. But in case of peritoneal dialysis, hospitalization is not necessary. This is what we have heard, that for peritoneal dialysis, hospitalization is not necessary, and it can be done in the house itself, because the peritoneum, the layer of the abdomen, from there the catheter is added. But the only thing is they need to carry that catheter everywhere, wherever they have to go. But for hemodialysis, there is a need for the hospitalization, because that process is done in the hospital. So now let us understand. So when the kidney is not functioning properly, or there is kidney malfunctioning, then in order to rectify the process of elimination of urea, so it is done through a process called dialysis. Dialysis is of two types. One is called hemodialysis, the other one is called peritoneal dialysis. Now let us understand what is hemodialysis. Hemodialysis, the process of removal of urea from the blood artificially. So when naturally the kidney is not functioning, so either artificially it has to be eliminated. As we all know, if urea is not eliminated out of the body, it may prove toxic, because urea is toxic substance. When compared to ammonia, it is less toxic, but it has to be eliminated out of the body. So one such means of elimination of urea artificially is called hemodialysis. So the process of removal of urea from the blood artificially is called hemodialysis. So in this process, so now let us understand what is this process all about. So as I said, most of the physiological chapters what you all are studying in first PUC are very, very important from knowledge point of view, because we are studying about ourselves. We are studying about the various physiological processes that is happening inside our body, and not, as I keep telling, not just to pass your PUC. See, imagine there is so much of knowledge what we gain from the chapters that are introduced in this particular unit called human physiology. So the internal processes, various physiological processes, may it be the body fluids and circulation, breathing and exchange of gases, excretory products and their elimination, all these are neural control and coordination, chemical coordination and integration. All these are the chapters which are very much useful. The knowledge what we gain from this is so very useful to mankind. So we will understand how the process is going on inside. So most of us are not aware how the physiological processes are going on inside. Only when there is some problem, then only we try to understand, oh, this has happened because of this. So right. So but it's our bound duty to understand, being human beings, and all these are the processes which are going on inside our body. So it's a bound duty to understand the process and the mechanism that is involved in the process. Various, may it be body fluid and circulation, may it be breathing every second we breathe, and such a very important process it is. Even body fluid and circulation, even excretion. So imagine if your bladder is full and you are not able to eliminate it, what a big problem it will be. So imagine all these are the very important physiological processes that is happening inside our body. So what is hemodialysis? The process of removal of urea from the blood artificially. Only when the kidney is not functioning properly, then they go for this hemodialysis, not in a normal person. So in this process, the blood from an artery is passed into dialyzing unit. So here you can see the dialyzing unit. So artificial pressure monitor, blood pump. Here you can see the heparin to prevent clot. So this is called as a dialysate. So artificial. So this will act as a kidney. So this is called as artificial kidney. this is called as artificial kidney. So this will help in doing the process of filtration, just like kidney does the process of filtration. So when kidney fails to do the process of filtration, then we go for an artificial dialysate. Then in this process, the blood from an artery is passed into dialysing unit after adding an anticoagulant. Also here anticoagulant is what? Heparin. See here you can see. So blood is pumped, but for hemodialysis, blood transfusion has, because there is a lot of loss of blood in this process, I have heard. So in that case, so definitely they have to go for blood transfusion before going for hemodialysis. So blood pump, here you can see. So in this process, the blood from an artery is passed into dialysing unit after adding an anticoagulant. Why anticoagulant? So that the blood will not clot. So like heparin is it. The blood passes through coiled cellophane tube surrounding by dialysing fluid. So here dialysing fluid will act as what? Artificial kidney. This will act as artificial kidney. Right? The nitrogenous waste from the concentration gradient and the blood become clear. So this blood is pumped back to the body through a vein after adding antiheparin to it. See, such a wonderful process is hemodialysis. Many people will undergo this process when their kidney is not functioning properly. So ultimately, if completely the kidney fails, then they have to go for a kidney transplantation. So imagine how each and every organ in our body is so very important for the normal functioning of the body. So that is the reason why we as human beings should understand the importance of these organs and try to maintain them properly. So the food habits, the lifestyle, everything has to be taken care so that the organs are functioning properly. Particularly the food habit, very, very important. And even the lifestyle, you should have good exercises, yoga. All these are very important for maintenance of good health. Right? So what are the disorders of excretory system? So here you can see blood is pumped, heparin is introduced to prevent clotting, then it will go to an artificial dialysate fluid, then air trap and detector. So here clean blood will return back to so it is given back to the person. So once the blood is filtered, again it is transfused, the filtered blood is transfused back to the person. So disorders of the excretory system, uremia. What is uremia? The accumulation of urea in blood due to malfunctioning of kidney. Then hemodialysis. So it is one such process of removal of urea from the blood artificially. So in this process, the blood from an artery is passed into dialysing unit after adding an anticoagulant. Anticoagulant is the one which prevents clotting. So like heparin. So the blood passes through the coiled cellophane tube surrounding the dialysing fluid. So this will act as an artificial kidney. So this will do the job of a kidney. So even it acts like the nephrons of the kidney. So the nitrogenous waste from the concentration gradient and the blood become clear. So it becomes clear. So because this is doing the process of filtration. What job the nephron does, that is done by the dialysing fluid. So obviously, so the nitrogenous waste from the concentration gradient and the blood becomes clear. So this blood is pumped back to the body through vein after adding an antiheparin to it. Then next very important disorder is renal calculi. It is otherwise commonly called as kidney stones. Actually, it is not a stone. It's a wrong concept. Like many people will think that it is a stone. Actually, it is not a stone. It is nothing but aggregation of salts, crystallized salts, you can say. So when the salts become insoluble, they get aggregated into a hard structure called stone. So now I think even this renal calculi or kidney stone is a very common disorder of the excretory system. Many people will suffer because of this renal calculi. Now let us understand what exactly is this renal calculi. So the formation of insoluble mass crystallized salts like oxalates or phosphates or calcium etc. in the kidney. So it is going to block the nephrons, the functioning of the nerve, just like how the blood vessels are blocked by the clot, like maybe it might be the deposition of calcium or maybe due to the deposition of cholesterol. So the flow of blood will disrupt. So in a similar way here, the nephrons, the formation of insoluble, they're not soluble. So they just remain as mass of salt, like as a crystals, like aggregation of salts. So mass crystallized salts, like particularly oxalates or phosphates or calcium, etc. in the kidney is called renal calculi. But nowadays, as I said, with the advancement in the technology, particularly in the field of medicine, there are many techniques to overcome this disorder of kidney called renal calculi. Even laser, they send the laser beams which is going to shatter the kidney stones, and that is passed through urine. Or even just like flushing out, continuously, you might have come across, this is what I have heard and read, that continuous, like when they give drip so fast, if the drip is given in a faster way, then it is just like flushing out. But a catheter is introduced for the elimination of the urine. So it is just like flushing out. So in one way, renal calculi are removed. So as I said, many techniques have improved to help the removal of these kidney stones from the people who have this renal calculi. Then next is glomerulonephritis. So it is it is inflammation of glomeruli of kidney. Glomerulus, it does the primary urine is formed in the glomerulus. Glomerulus is a part of Malpighian corpuscle, or otherwise it is called renal corpuscle. So in that case, imagine if there is inflammation, as the afferent and efferent arterioles enter the glomeruli. So in that case, inflammation of glomeruli of kidney will lead to a disorder called glomerulonephritis. So hope you have understood. One is through hemodialysis, you can rectify it. And renal calculi, the formation. So hemodialysis is done when the kidney is not functioning properly. So there are many reasons why the kidney will not be functioning properly. So in that case, so hemodialysis will come to the rescue of those people, and which is going to act as the dialysate, which is the dialysing fluid will act as an artificial kidney. So renal calculi, the formation of insoluble mass crystallized salts like oxalates or phosphates or calcium, etc. in the kidneys. So what is glomerulonephritis? Inflammation of glomeruli of kidney is called glomerulonephritis. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in this wonderful chapter 19 of your syllabus called excretory products and their elimination. So when we learned the concepts, you would have understood how important this very important physiological process called excretion is. So as I keep telling that, the knowledge what you gain from the concepts, what you learn from these chapters is really very useful to us. So try to understand the importance of all the organs, important organs what we have in our body. So it is our bound duty to protect and take care of our body by having good exercises, having good food habits. Then even you have to avoid the sedentary life. All those are the reasons which may be responsible for causing the disorders in many organs. So hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in this wonderful chapter called excretory products and their elimination. So I'll be back with yet another very important physiological chapter, a very important chapter in the coming session. So till then, goodbye and thank you.